Well, you know how I said I bought a carload of radio bits? Well, this is one of them. Now, it looks like it's quite old, and it all seems to be sort of connected together, which makes it very heavy, so you can see I've been putting little tabs here so I can disconnect it all and still know how to put it back together if I need to. I'm obviously not going to be powering it up looking at this very safe transformer. Also, I don't know where it plugs in. I don't know which wire on earth you'd use, and some of these, as you can see, are very crumbly. But I'm just going to sort of have a look and see if there's any chance of me ever figuring out how to fix this. But there does seem to be everything there. As to whether any of these valves work, who knows? So we'll have a look at it on the bench. Well, we'll see. Here it is now. And we're outside today because just because it's a really lovely day, and definitely not because my whole shed is just filled with stuff. Yeah, totally. Anyway, there it is. Now the controls have all been pulled off, but I think they're all here. Now this especially is a very beautiful sort of bakelite, beautiful patterned bakelite. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the camera, but I'm sure it'll polish up nicely. And so we've got that. We've got this thing, this little knob. So this, which I've noticed, I thought this was the headphone socket or something, and actually yanked this thing out, but I've put it back in, and it's a switch, which has been disconnected, so someone's been in here before and changed things, as you can tell. Now the whole thing's got borer, unfortunately. That's why it hasn't got the cabinet. The guy told me that, there was borer, so he had to throw out all the cabinets. But this knob probably just screws in here. Yep, there we go. Oh, already fixed one thing. Yeah, something that was made redundant. Oh well, still counts. I don't know, is it an on-off switch? It does seem to. Yeah, looks like it might be. Maybe this was. Ah, yeah, it's an on-off switch because they replaced it with this. It rattles. I don't think it's supposed to. It's a lovely old switch. Vitreous enamel. Well, porcelain. Just says vitreous. But yeah, porcelain based little light switch. And they are metal. So this is definitely an old one. So probably salvaged off an old house at the time. Yeah, and a battery eliminator, which maybe this valve was for that. Yeah, you can... Totally safe, huh? Anyway. Came with parts, yeah, you saw the knobs, very nice. This thing, I don't know my very old radios that much. Some capacitors, yep, there you go, look at that. Condensers, and here's a speaker, a dynamic Magnavox speaker. And what do we have here? Yep, Magnavox. All, yep. There you go. And this, yeah, all it had its cabinet, but it's all been yanked out because borer, my enemy. There you go. Now, I'm not going to power it up, but just having a look, and yeah, since it's got borer, I'm probably just going to have to pull it all apart, either put it on a new board, or just use it as parts. I must say, there's some nice bits, because I did want to build now build the fanciest crystal radio. Well, that's it, I'll show you another one. Now, this thing, isn't that pretty? Nice aluminium front, but it's a very simple single valve radio, you can see, and maybe this is a better one for me to start on. I don't know, maybe I can use this as parts to build a crystal set. I think that might be the crystal thing in there, which I must say, it's a lot cheaper buying all this instead of trying to buy just one of those. That's what I think it is. It doesn't say, does it? No. However, we can test that. That's what I'm going to do. If that thing is a crystal, then it should only conduct one way. And so we can see the meter. Now if I connect it, that's just checking the meter. It is working. Now hopefully I'm going to connect. I'm not sure if I'll get a connection here, so we'll see. So there's nothing. We can go. Oh, there is something eventually, and that could be more the poor connection's making. Now let's see if I go the other way. Nothing. There's something there. Let's see what happens if I... Ah! When I turn the screw, I'll go back out. I wonder. So it does seem to be going both. Oh, well, who knows? But I don't know what else it could be. It isn't labelled at all, so... And I'm not going to pull it apart because I know these things are sprung. So I don't know if you can tell me what it is, because that looks like where you would have mounted the crystal there. And they've just put one of these self-contained units. And you've got all these lovely connections here too, which, yeah, nice find. I got impatient with using the Silvo just by hand, so I used this fake Dremel. And I've come to the conclusion that the only way to make it look nice and shiny is to keep it constantly wet. As you can see, it's wet, that's why it looks so pretty. So the back looks nice, but even with a little bit of polishing, I suppose I need a proper polishing compound, but the problem with the Silvo is it just sort of got stuck everywhere and was sort of getting ingrained in it, and I didn't want that. So I've sort of cleaned it up. You can actually see the pattern now, but I don't want to go too far and go straight through the plastic, so I might just keep it until I can read up on maybe some proper polishing stuff. Anyway, it's not urgent. There's one other thing we're going to be looking at. This switch, this light switch. Now the fronts just unscrew on these. Others have exposed screws, but this one, the front just unscrews. And well, that explains the problem. There are screws inside it. Fixing screws. Now that's sort of common. We'll put them away in there. They probably were left in there. And it is oh, that's an interesting design. So you can see the switch, and when I pull the switch down, it pushes those in. Ah, see, so making contact is pretty slow, but breaking it, that's what I like about old switches. They're very well designed in that regard. I don't think I've ever seen an old switch that doesn't break contact neatly. Well, unless I suppose it's damaged. But no, I haven't even damaged ones. They all break contact very nicely. This one is interesting though because it doesn't make it nice. It's yeah. There is potential for arcing there, so you do have to press it sort of quickly, and it's very stiff. So this is definitely an older design, because later ones you can flick the switch, and it makes contact very neatly and breaks it very well. But you can see once it was nice and shiny. This is probably solid brass, so I could give this a polish. Got some brass, so I don't know. Will it lose its patina? I don't think it's got scratches. I might just leave it for now because I sort of like the patinated look. And once I've cleaned it off, it's gone. And I'm definitely not just justifying laziness here. Anyway, I've got some useless capacitors, got some nice little screw terminals. Yeah, I found these. These are for the headphone. Oh, I don't think they're for the headphone. I think they're for this, the speaker. Question is, oh, actually no, the speaker probably went here, didn't it? There's connections here, and I think there's some connections over here. The speaker went somewhere. So those might be off something else for a headphone. But yeah. It's just a look at some junk, really. Some of the other stuff, well, not the fan, but there's a nice Decker horn there with an arm, a weird electric motor, a horn probably off some sort of portable that seems to just sort of bounce the sound back within itself. There you can see that weird electric motor. That, yeah, some speakers, or we can always do with more speakers, and a radio, and underneath another radio. Oh, and another radio, and there's also another one over here. Oh, and good news with this, I got the transformer, the flyback for the television. So one day, when I actually feel comfortable working on a television, again, no, when I actually feel like I'm not going to break it, I'll put it on. Oh, and I'm getting light from my homemade lighting because, well, actually I made this before, but the lights have failed here. There is that one, but that one takes a while to warm up. But yeah, well, it's totally legal because it plugs in. So you could just wire your whole house in, and as long as it plugs in, you can do it yourself. Well, here at least. You have to check the laws in your country, but yeah, just found some old wall fixtures. Oh, and that mirror, I picked it off the street. I can't believe it. But there, another radio here. That's a huge console radio. Oh, would have been in one. Anyway. Well, now we're doing a tour. There's one thing that I've had a problem with for a while. It's here. Unfortunately, the light's not going to be on it. But this thing is a beautiful, I think, Ansley Dynatron. It's a really beautiful thing, very modern and plain. They even covered over the hinges. Unfortunately, I might be able to show you. One day I'll be able to show the whole thing when it's fixed, hopefully. But yeah, the hinges are even covered over because they're too much pattern, and the front's got plain black speaker cloth and everything. So naturally, they put intricately carved wooden knobs on it, which for the mid-30s would have been a bit old-fashioned, I would have thought, by then. But there you go. Oh, the tone arm is a magnificent thing to behold right there. Again, continuing the beautiful modern. It's terrible. It's the wrong length. It should be. It's too short. So this whole thing is weird. But that's too short, and it doesn't really fit. But it looks beautiful. Of course, I don't have any sound. I don't know if the cartridge is good. And it's really weird because that actually is on the top. The radio bit is at the bottom. And the turntable, unfortunately I don't have a picture, but yeah, the turntable you put on top every time you want to use it, and it's just bizarre. It looks completely unbalanced. So it'd be great to have that all back together. And now, one more interesting thing about it, look at that, you can actually see it. I didn't notice this until I pulled it out, because you don't, well actually no, until I opened the back door and I saw a glimpse of it, because you can't really see this because it's at the bottom, and it's all sort of covered up. But the whole chassis is made up of this beautiful, intricately engraved Art Deco patterned metal. The whole thing, even this little bit here. I don't know why, because again, it's not visible in any way. The whole chassis is just engraved with that magnificent pattern. There you go. It's so weird. And the other weird thing, my problem with it is that I'm missing a valve there. And now you'd say, well, just look it up. I've got the model plate. It says on it, if I can open it. It says in here, there. You can't read it, but I don't remember what it was, but I looked it up. So yeah, he's got the model, so you should be fine. Well, completely different valve lineup, and they're not equivalents. This thing is completely different to the one that it's said to be. So I have no clue. I don't remember what the valves were. I think I've written most of them down, so I might put them in the description. But yeah, if anyone knows what valve that should be, greatly appreciate it, because it's a really beautiful thing, and it'd be nice to get it working. But I've just been stumped, because I don't know enough to be able to guess the valve. But it really is a beautiful thing. I'd love to get it working. I need to service the motor. Of course, it was quite noisy, and it might need the cartridge rebuilt, but I've found out that that's actually quite simple. I'll also link that in the description, a video on how to rebuild a crystal cartridge, because that's quite useful. But yeah, it's a weird thing that I really like, but unfortunately I have no clue what valve. Anyway, thank you for watching my ramble. Goodbye.